So we're going to start with 1 cup of warm water, warm but not scalding to touch. Next we're going to add 2 packages of Fleischmann's dry yeast and 1 teaspoon of sugar. We're going to whisk this together. Now the sugar does act as an activation for the yeast. We want to make sure that all the grains from the sugar and the yeast are dissolved. Now you're going to notice that I am using a 2-cup measuring cup. I poured the 1 cup of water into the 2 cup, and that's going to allow for room. As the yeast proofs, it's going to rise and become 2 cups. Next I have 1 stick of melted butter, not warm. We want to make sure that that butter, the temperature of the butter does come down. We do not want to make sure that that butter is warm. Next I have a 1/2 cup of sugar. I have a teaspoon of salt. And I have 4 eggs that I've cracked, adding that to the mixing bowl. And next what I'd like to show you is that I have 4 cups of flour. The flour is not sifted, and I do prefer using King Arthur for baking. I will use the King Arthur when I'm making dough and just general baking. I do prefer the King Arthur brand. Now when you're measuring out the flour, you want to make sure that the flour is leveled off. You do not want to heap on top of the measuring cup. With baking, when it comes to flour, you do have to be exacting when it comes to baking. So during this process, while the yeast is proofing, it's going to double in size. This typically can last, can take about 5 minutes. It can take longer, but you're going to see that the yeast will double in size, so that 1 cup is going to turn out to be 2 cups as the yeast activates. So we have everything that we need. We have the ingredients in our mixing bowl, we have our flour, and now we're waiting for the activation of the yeast. So after that yeast is activated, we can start the next process, and that's mixing.